everyone. Good evening. Welcome to your Sunday Tonic conversation with the Love Crusader. If you're coming across the platform for the first time, it's a platform where we have conversations around love, life, relationships, marriage. We try to also have fun when we have these conversations. So it's kind of a learning platform. Um, where we give insights and share insights into how we can better our relationships, how we can mend our relationships, and how we can do better in our relationships. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook. Kindly subscribe if you have not subscribed, join our channel. Follow us on all of our social media channels. It's the Love Crusader on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, which one again? On Google, all of the social media platform. Okay, I am in the studio today with my co-host Titi Lion. Or is it Titi Lion, like my husband would say? Okay, and today we are dealing with the topic love and separations. I know that one time I put this up and someone said to me, we shouldn't be talking about the two. It's like, why love, separation? But sometimes life happens, and that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be very realistic, talk about the fact that sometimes separations are needed and necessary, and at what times should that happen. So, again, welcome, Titi. Let's talk about love and separation. First thing first, why should we even be talking about these two at all? Love and separation.
Hmm. Um, I'm kind of surprised that at a time like, especially at a time like this, people are still saying we shouldn't be talking about separation. I was kind of taken aback because of the kind of world we live in and the kind of world we live in now. You know, a lot is going on. Just like you said, sometimes life happens and you don't have control over these things. So the mere fact that it happens to us, it's among us, we know these things, we see these things, then we should be talking about it. And for those of us in the Christian faith, um, even if it's something that shouldn't be happening, the mere fact that it's happening around us
Mm.
is just like saying we shouldn't talk about homosexuality. We shouldn't talk about the LGBT community because it's unheard of. It shouldn't be heard of. We should talk about these things because we live in this world and we live with people. We relate at in one way or the other with these people. So there's no way you are affected in one way or the other, whether directly or indirectly. So there's no way we wouldn't be talking about it. So just to help those people that feel like, oh, why are you guys meddling inside something like this? We have to meddle. If it's happening in our world, we have to talk about it because
The
it's
topic of
affecting.
conversation, if it's affecting relationships, it's our business, right?
It's our
If
business.
it, if it's affecting marriage, it's our business. It's affecting personal life, it's our business. That's what this platform is about. And as much as we are trying to be very, very realistic about it, it's not like we're saying we are the ones encouraging separation. Whether we encourage it or not, whether we shy away from it or not, the fact is it's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening, and it has to happen in some cases. Good example, work. We have people who have been separated by, I mean, geographically separated because of work. One partner is somewhere and the other partner is elsewhere working. So what can they do? They still love themselves, but they have to work. So what happens? Titi is smiling because Titi was in that. Okay, Titi was in that situation some years. So she's a pro.
Well,
She can give you tips on how
well,
that works. But yeah, it happens, right?
hmm but
Mm-hmm.
technically, that isn't separation.
Yes. You're not
That's
in the same. Okay, let's go back to your definition of it then, so that we know we're on the same page. What's your definition of separation?
Well, if you're going to include that, I would say that is a long distance marriage. I would say long distance marriage because when there's separation, um, there's an impending or there's an outstanding issue, you know,
Mm,
causing some kind of that is threatening to tear the marriage apart. There's an underlying issue, or there are underlying issues that are threatening the existence of that marriage. And based upon that, there has to be separation. Um, Sometimes, most times physically, but in the case of two partners living in a different geographical location, there may not really be an outstanding issue. There may not really be pressing issues that are threatening the existence of that marriage. So things may be going on well, but just like you mentioned, maybe for due to certain circumstances, probably for work, they just have to stay apart temporarily. They're still very much in love with each other, still looking forward to the marriage is good, basically. But so I'm not I'm a bit uncomfortable terming that separation because that might be stretching it a little too far, I think.
I think we should look at it both sides. I agree with you that there is the separation that comes as a result of issues in a relationship that will require people to be to go apart for a while or something like that, or even go apart for long. But also, even the separation that comes from long distance thing is also something that is challenging, because there are complications that come from long distance relationship. And there's, as much as they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, I was trying to do a bit of research about it, and they say scientifically proven that absence makes the heart grow fonder. There's kind of in my thoughts, or in my idea, is that there's more work when it's a long distance relationship. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's a whole lot of work um that needs to be done and then some. So yes, there is. My point is just the fact that when it is long distance, chances are that there isn't any tension in the marriage space, especially when both parties understand each other. They are on the same page. They understand the reason why this is long distance for now, and they may not really have any issue that is threatening the marriage per se. They are good. They are in a good phase in the marriage. Yeah. Whereas when we talk about separation as we know it, something, whether it's the long distance or other issues, is threatening the existence of that marriage. And at least ideally, that's what is termed separation. You
Okay.
know.
All right. Let's do it this way. When we start to talk about how to, which is part of what we're going to do, how to manage separations, we will give the tips that will help both sides. But for now, we have come to agree that separation can be either because you're both still in your relationship, but you're separated by distance, or that there are issues in your relationship, and so separation is necessary. Now, the first thing I would like us to talk about is, when is separation necessary in a relationship? Now I'm talking about the issues. What are the issues that can, I don't want to use the word justify, but what are the issues that can make someone say, yes, now I think we can separate, or there's need for separation? Some of the issues.
Hmm. I think the one that seems to be the most glaring and most universally acceptable. And by universally acceptable, I mean by both people that have faith, people that don't, is the case of infidelity. Because it rocks the marriage so hard that separation might be necessary, especially when the one that has strayed is unrepentant, you know. Aside from that, any other issues, any other factors that is threatening the life of either party may call for separation.
Hmm.
And this thing I've termed summarily is quite wide, but
Yeah.
I've just grouped everything together to say if it's threatening the life or the health of either party, then you might need to separate.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to reverse back because, like you said, you grouped it, and me, I want to break it down. Because when we talk about adultery, yes, it's the or cheating, adultery, cheating, whatever English
Yeah.
people are trying to use to paint it now. And people say, oh, even biblically, it is one justifiable reason for divorce. Okay, but can't it be forgiven? Do
Oh
we
yeah, why
really
not?
separate for it?
And there's no no matter how terrible the marriage is, no matter how terrible things have gone wrong in that marriage, it can turn around. No
Mhm.
matter how bad the adultery is, it can be forgiven, and the marriage will never be the same again, but the marriage can be better, the marriage can be different and forge ahead. The main challenge is always the parties that are involved. One party is not willing to move forward, and by move forward I mean, say one party is not willing to repent, or one party is still insisting that they've done nothing wrong, or and the other person or the other party is holding on to what has happened, you know. But when both parties are willing to do what it takes to move forward, of course, it can be forgiven. It does take a while, but yeah, it can be forgiven. And I don't want to use the word ideal because it might sound like something that is unattainable. But I think the best situation is for it to not happen in the first place. But these things do happen.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
How about is one of the ways of going about it revenge cheating? Because some weeks back, she's squeezing her face. This is happening, my
I
sister.
didn't get that.
Revenge, revenge cheating. So some week back,
Oh,
like
I see.
someone, and she said, the guy had done it once. She forgave. He did it again, so she too went and did her own.
Hmm.
And now, of course, as I'm talking to you, unfortunately, they're no longer together because it feels like, and I stand to be corrected, but in my small years of counseling, it feels like if a man does it, kind of a woman forgives more easily. But if a woman does it, it becomes unforgivable. And I still cannot wrap my head around the rationale behind that. Maybe some men who are listening to us can help me, or some women can help me. Anyone who has maybe a solution or an answer to that question. Why is it like that? Why is it as if, because this guy, I spoke to both of them. The guy told me, confessed that yes, he had cheated severally. He even said severally. She said twice. So I assume she does not even know the others. But he cannot get over the fact that she did it. And she says she did it out of revenge. So at this point, like, I think trust is gone.
Hmm.
And for me, it's about that trust being broken and not being mendable. I think that's where the problem is. It's not really the cheating itself, it's our inability to trust again. Either ability to trust again or not trust again. If we can trust again, then, like you said, the relationship can be better. But if we cannot trust again, do we say the
Because
separate?
it takes a lot to trust again. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of work to trust again. And we need to understand that while all these are extra burdens on the marriage space. While all this is going on, life is still happening. Marriage is still running. So the issue of infidelity or breaking of trust is an extra burden. It's like you being in school and you fail the course. You have to rewrite that course.
Mm.
It puts a lot of strain on you. So the fact that you're rewriting a course does not mean that other classes are not going on. You may have even moved to the next class, right? But you still have something holding you back. So you have to deal with the burden of the class in front of you and the burden of the one that is still behind you. You're waiting to pass it and all that. So the fact that you have an extra course to clear does not mean that the other courses that you should normally have are not running. They are running. You are the one that now has to put in more work, buckle up, and find a way to manage the two.
Hmm.
So the problem most times is that marriage does not stop because there's infidelity. Marriage is still happening, especially when kids are involved. Life is still going on normally, you know? So you have to find a way to manage life, which you couldn't even do in the first place. That's why there was adultery. And now manage this extra situation. So
Mm.
you really need to be determined to be able to pull both together and forge ahead.
Okay, so
Mm.
there's a she has mentioned number one, trust, when trust is broken and not repairable, not just trust is broken. Second is
Is there
um
any trust that is not repairable?
no, because see, the point here is it's not like trust is in itself is not repairable, but like you said, I'm going to quote you, the both have to be willing to work at it to repair it.
Yes.
Do you understand? The person who has strayed need to work to build back the trust they've lost. The person who's been cheated on needs to also work on themselves, on their psychic, to be able to trust this person again. It's
Yeah.
both ways. The work is both ways. So when I say not regainable, I'm not saying that trust is not regainable. I'm saying when people are not willing to put in
Oh
that work,
yeah.
then
Yes.
of course it means that trust is gone and they couldn't get it back.
Yes.
And
So
like,
when trust is broken and is not being mended.
that's the word. When they are not
Okay.
willing to mend it, then will the trust is lost. Relationship may be lost, at this point. And of course, separation can come in. Like my husband will say, he will say, even if love dies, trust should not die. As far as he is concerned, trust is much more stronger in
Mhm.
holding that relationship together than even love in itself. So
Yeah.
that's a very strong thing. To live with someone you don't trust, you can never actually enjoy the fullness of that relationship. Okay, now we've also talked about you talked to about life being at risk. The question here around that is, most times people see, when we say life being at risk, people see it more of in the terms of physical, maybe physical abuse. How about emotional, psychological abuse that can lead to maybe a mental degeneration, when somebody is becomes mentally unwell because of bitterness, rancor, and challenges in a relationship? Is that also, is that part of
Oh,
life
definitely.
being at stake?
Definitely. And I might not be able to speak authoritatively for the men folk, but especially for women, these things manifest themselves in different ways. For a woman, her life is interconnected. For most men, their lives are not, they can separate work from family, from fun, from relaxation, they can do these things independently.
Mhm.
But for most women, it's not like that. So that's why sometimes you can see that you may see that a man's marriage is crashing, but he's still succeeding at work.
Mm.
But for a woman, everything is interconnected. You know, her marriage affects her work, affects her relationship, affects the way she raises her kids, affects the way she succeeds in business, affects the way she shows up in the world. Everything is interconnected.
Mm.
So, and women value marriage more. That's a clear fact. Women value relationship more. They are more expressive in the relationship space. So when and for her, one of the highest form of relationships for her is her marriage. So
Mm.
her relationship with God, that's why you see more women in church.
Mm-hmm.
Her relationship with God, she values that. That's one of the highest form of relationship for her. Her marriage relationships, another important relationship. Her relationship with her kids, if she's got kids, and so on. So relationship is really important. So if one of these relationship is affected in that order, if the highest or the second highest is affected, it kind of affects, it trickles down and affects every other thing, you know. And I know that for most men, they can't understand how that affects probably her mental health, makes her unstable and all that. But it is true. It is a real thing. Women are affected in these ways such that they cannot function properly or they cannot function optimally. When a woman is being hindered or she's being forced to shrink herself, it affects her mentally. Because for a woman, these are ways of expression. So, in the same way, when for a man, when his job is taken away from him,
Mm.
you know, people will try and encourage him and tell him, "Ah, don't worry, we are here for you, we can support." All those things they are saying is just he's finished. It's like you've reduced him. Don't take away his job. Take away something else. Take away his marriage. Don't take away his work. Because that's kind of so I'm trying to give this analogy to try to explain to the men folk out there to see how badly women can be impacted by their marriage.
Titilayo, should we Christians, married people, couples, in relationships, whatever you call it, should we be talking about timeouts? Do you know what
I
a
don't get
timeout
what's
is?
timeout.
It's your 15 minutes between the first half and second half of a game.
Okay. So when you've got
should we
what is that?
should we have a time when we say, for now,
I
let's
need a
separate?
break.
Someone sent me a message on WhatsApp. He said you can be in a space physically with someone, but you're separated.
Oh yeah.
Topic. How?
Oh yeah.
He says it's not about living in the same space. You can be in a space with someone, yet you are separated. So for this person, they believe that there should be a time out. There should be a time when it gets overwhelming and both of you just take a break. Should we be encouraging that?
Well, I wouldn't say I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
You know, I wouldn't say there should be. I would say um when you get to that stage, you both should work on the marriage. You should have conversations. Now, when conversations are not being had,
Mhm.
and you feel that your life is being threatened, your life is at stake here, you are beginning to lose it mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, you know, then you might need to separate yourself. So I don't think because when you say timeout, it seems as if both of you have come together and said, let's just take a break. I'm wondering, instead of taking a break, why don't you work on the marriage? Why don't you both, if both of you can come together and agree and say, let's take a break? Because the idea of separation comes when one party is not willing. So if both of you are willing, or if both of you are thinking along the lines of, oh, this marriage is broken, how about do something about it, as against saying, oh, I think we need to separate.
What if it's only one person that is seeing the brokenness
Then that's where the issue
and the
is.
other person is not seeing it? And
Mhm.
this person has tried, like maybe they're trying to have a conversation with their partner, they're trying to make their partner see that there is a problem, but the other person is not seeing it. And the only way to kind of make this message clear is, okay, pack my bags and go. So wait, hold on, because someone said, my husband said, yeah, I belong to school of thought that separation doesn't in every case heal the heart. So he doesn't believe absence makes the heart grow fonder or repair issues in relationship. Separations can be counterproductive in the end. And I saw a situation where this actually happened, and they had a fight. The man packs his bag because he's actually been talking to this woman, over this had been going on over some years about the way she behaves and all of that. She's quite irrational when she's angry and all. So he packs his bag and he leaves the house. And unfortunately, this is a man that's never cheated on his wife before, never had issues of adultery. Adultery came in from being separated. Of course, his intention was not to divorce his wife. By the time he came back, and they would now work on the relationship or trying to mend their ways and mend the relationship. The problem was now how to do away with side chick. So by the time she found out that he had cheated, the whole issue started all over again. So I kind of understand when someone says it can be counterproductive, but is it not useful?
Um, Again, I don't believe that you should separate um when you have a spouse or a partner that they have issues. You've been talking about these issues for a while.
Mm.
They seem to be changing. That's your cross to carry.
Ah, sister.
That's your cross to carry.
Eh?
But when these issues is now beginning to affect you negatively,
Hmm.
um, when these issues is beginning to threaten your very existence,
Mm.
and by that I mean that you're beginning to go crazy. You're not, you are not, it's affecting your mental state. It's
Mm.
affecting your entire being.
Mm.
You know, at that point, I think that is when separation may be necessary. It's like a necessary evil, you know, because I believe that when both parties are, when there's separation, it's like an open door,
Mhm.
you know, then all manners of things begin to crawl in. That's why I say when your life is threatened, and this thing, you have to come a long way to get to this point where you have to be separated. So you have been dealing with these issues and you see that it's beginning to affect you. There has to be a third party in that marriage relationship. There has to be a third party in that space.
Mm.
And when with the third party nothing is happening, then there may be a need for separation. In
Mm.
this situation, I don't believe that what's that saying about making the heart grow fonder. I don't I feel absence, yeah. I feel like when there's separation, there's room for all other things. Because for people to separate, just like we said earlier, the separation has happened in the mind already. The person has been thinking about it. Sometimes they've checked out already mentally. Because for them to still be existing, they just shut you off. So when you now add that to physical separation, nothing connects you both together anymore. There's just room for all manners of things. So the separation is to say, let me save my life because my life cannot handle this pressure anymore. I need to do something.
Yes. Okay. So we've agreed that separation is needed or is needful when one trust is broken and both parties have refused to work to build it back, or when life is at stake, and that is quite subjective. According to someone here, say it's quite subjective to say when you feel when you feel at risk. I don't know why this person is not posting it on YouTube so everyone can be seeing the comments anyways. But it's fine. It's fine. It's still okay to send me your messages on WhatsApp if you prefer WhatsApp. So there are people sending messages on WhatsApp. And this person is saying, why are we making it so subjective to say until when your life is at risk? Why not prevent? So why not separate before your life become at risk? So how do we gauge it now? If we want to separate to prevent one's life being at risk, how do we gauge it? When do you now say, okay, I can separate now to prevent mental breakdown? I can separate now to prevent risks to my life. Maybe we give a
That
example.
that's where you are at that point. When you separate, you are, because you've not lost it yet. You're beginning to sense, I might lose it. So you're already at that point of separation. Before that point, like I said, life is still happening. Activities are going on. You are trying to see what you can do to make sure that things become better, or at least one party is, so you're still trying to work it out. And what we're talking about space of years, months to years, depending on the situation. So at that point of separation, you've not lost it yet. You've not your life has not been you're still alive, so you've reached that level where you feel, and these things don't just happen overnight.
So should we say that it's an individual thing? Because I believe that we all have different thresholds, and different resilience levels. What you can swallow, I might not be able to swallow. What you can take, what can make someone else go mental might not move another person. So should we say this should be an individual thing? Like you judge yourself, you check yourself, you be truthful with yourself, and be able to tell yourself when you've gotten to that point of, no, I can't take it anymore. That's what someone just said. The thresholds are different, so individuals involved needs to determine it. Someone just took that word from my mouth. So I think that is where we should park the car, to say, gauge your threshold. What can you take? What can you swallow? What can make you, lose it? There are some stories I hear and I wonder, hey, how was that person able to take that? And then there are some stories I will also hear, I'll be like, Kile Itiri. Oh, sorry, why am I speaking vernacular? This one has not seen anything yet. But we all have different thresholds. We have different, strength. Will I say it? The grace of God is one, no, but there's grace and higher grace.
I agree that we all have different thresholds, but to not sound at the risk of making it look like everybody go and do whatever you feel like. So if my partner sneezes today and I feel like, oh, the way he sneezes is affecting my mental health, I'm leaving.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm saying that you said we have different threshold now.
Yes.
So those of us that are the lowest threshold,
but
if my husband is snoring too much,
you know that on this platform we always encourage communication. We encourage working out your relationship. That's why it's called mend fences, for God's sake. We believe in mending it. We believe in fixing it. But if someone is actually trying to fix a relationship, it's not working. What I put down here is when there's a failure to engage. Because there's a level that someone, okay, someone reached out to me, a guy reached out to me some weeks back. Oh, my relationship is almost over, blah and blah and blah and blah. And he told me, and I was like, oh my God, this is really bad. Okay, he said he wants to see how we can go into some counseling. And I said, okay, I believe it's workable. But I reached out to the wife and she refused. She has refused counseling. She's refused to talk to the man. She's refused to engage with the man. She's refused to engage with me as a counselor. I've said, okay, if she's not comfortable with me, should we recommend her to someone else? Like, you would send a message, she will not even respond. What can this man do? What can he
I
do?
I
So,
agree that there's different thresholds to these things. My point is, yeah, there are different thresholds and it's based on individuals, but there's a process to these things. That's that's what I'm trying to drive at. There's a process to these things. These things we are talking about, they take time. You
of course.
And in that space, you need to be working on what these issues are. So for example, a man that is financially irresponsible, you know so before he gets to that space where he will sell the whole family, sell the wife, sell the children, or he puts their life in jeopardy. So the woman is working hard to make sure that they are financially stable, but
Mm-hmm.
all he does is squander the money and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Before he gets to that stage where the woman or the man,
Mm.
one of the spouses, can no longer trust the other person
Mm-hmm.
financially,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Is my point. So my point is there's a process to these things. You can't just wake up. That's why I said there are some issues that you see and it's your cross to bear. By what I mean by it's your cross to bear is it's now on you to find a way to walk around it,
Mm.
live with it. Actually, so for example, in this case of financial irresponsibility, it will take a while before you realize that there's nothing you give this man that he's responsible with. Even
Okay.
the one you don't give him, he takes it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and time would have passed, by the time you realize that, then you now come to that point and say, before I come home one day and this guy has sold me,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do something, you know. So that is my whole point. Yes, individual thresholds are different, but there's a process to these things.
I agree,
There,
but my point is when you get to that point now where you're saying, look, this man is going to sell me and sell these children, should separation be one of the options? Or should it not
oh
be?
yeah,
Should it only
that's
be
what
because
that's
your
what
life is at stake? That's what I'm saying. And I think that's the question this person was saying, asking us to say, should it only be until the point where life is now at stake? If you are, like you said, you're going through this process, you've done all that you can. No one is saying just throw away the baby and the bathwater, but you're going through this process, you're doing this years after years, you're speaking with this person, you're praying as a child of God, even as a fervent woman of God, you're praying, you're fasting, but this person is either not engaging or not changing, the situation is not changing. Why wait until it becomes because sometimes you hear some people get to a point where they are actually mentally drained when they're talking to you, like, and I'm not saying divorce, oh, I'm not talking divorce here. I'm saying there should be a timeout. There should be that time when both of you go apart to think if this is really what you want. And in the time of separation, which we're going to talk about now, there are things that should be done. So this is not separation of just carry your load to your father's house or just go away and then or go and stay somewhere. No, this is separation of let's heal our demons and come back as two complete people. That's what I mean by timeout. Yes,
I
we
don't
can
I
agree
don't
to disagree. Tell me
yeah, I don't believe
in
I don't
timeout.
believe in that kind of separate. I don't believe in timeout. Let me put it that way. I and the reason why it has to get to the point where life is being threatened or and all that is because you need time. So put yourself in, if it's the other way around and you are the one, because these things begin as an issue. You have a drug problem, you have a money problem, you have a woman or a
Gambling
man
problem.
problem.
Yeah,
Yes, it begins like any other problem in any other marriage.
yeah.
So it comes up and you now begin to find, that's why I say that's the way, that is your cross to bear. It comes up and you now begin to find ways to deal with it. And in finding ways to deal with it, time is passing. Then you need to allow time for the solutions or whatever. So he cheats on you today and he says, I will never do it again.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and you give her time to not do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So that time is relative. Some people it's a year, some people it's 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it happens again. And you're like, what? What is all this? This is serious. It's seriouser than I thought. We
Mm-hmm.
need counseling. So before you come to each of these conclusions, time has passed. That's why I said there is a process to these things. So why I said that it has to get to that point where your life is being threatened is the fact that you need to give these things time. Because if you are the one with the issue,
Yeah,
you would want grace to be extended to you.
of
And
course.
I know there's a limit. Yes. You want grace to be extended to you. You want time to work on it, see if it can change and everything. And we're not even just talking about any other person here. We're talking about a covenant relationship. We're talking about love that is a bond. So you can't just wait, you can't just say to prevent to skip. You can't just keep that time. You need to allow that time to happen up until when you now realize that we've tried everything. That's why I said at some point you need a third party. I've tried everything. We've invited a third party. We've tried counseling. We've tried changing location so that I don't see women. Change your secretary. It didn't work.
It's also not see women. Titi not
Exactly.
where will
It
you go
didn't
to
work
not see women? Okay.
at all. We're trying everything now. So at this point, I've tried to talk to her. She doesn't want counseling. She just continues to stay in her own way, set in her own way. She believes that she's always right. At this point, I feel like we cannot continue like this. It is affecting me as a man.
My next question, Titi. Does every separation end in divorce?
I think statistically, most separations do. That's why I'm not really a fan of separation. I'm not really a fan of separation because when separation happens, the, mentally the person is checking out gradually. When you now encourage it by being away physically, a lot of
But
things are
it's
happening.
scientifically proven that absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Not this
Sometimes
kind of
it has
absence.
happened. Let me explain that sometimes, truthfully, it has happened that when people now separate, they miss themselves. They
Oh yeah,
remember
yeah.
more. They remember more the good part of this person because sometimes when you live with someone every day and every day, there's the tendency to always see what they are not doing right or they are not doing right, what
And
they are
take
not
them
doing,
for
what they are not doing
granted.
right, and take it for granted that they are there in your space and they are with you every day. But when you get a bit of separation anxiety, it can maybe become a wake-up call to say, I don't want to lose this person. I can't live without this person. I've experimented this 1, 2, 3, 4 days of staying without this person. I really don't think I want my life without this person. And then someone may be more willing, more open to working out. Someone you and this I'm saying to you is something I've also seen has happened. A man that was not willing to engage with counseling. She kept saying, "Oh, we need a counselor." I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to go and tell anybody my story, blah blah. Then they separated for a while, and then she kept saying, "Look, I'm not coming back unless we go find someone to talk to." He wanted her back, of course. She wanted him back, of course, because like you said, it's a covenant thing. But it was getting to the point where mental health was being affected, and then he says, okay, I'll go do the counseling. And it turned out well for them. That's what I'm saying. In the course of separation, it has to be separation with a goal. So I put it down here that you have to have an ultimate goal. You separate, but you come together quickly. It should not be extended. It shouldn't be for too long. Okay? And it should not be separation where both of you are not talking to each other. You've cut off each other. And you're not taking each other's call. You're not speaking to each other. You're not discussing the issues. You're not discussing way forward. You still can still plan counseling. You can still plan building of things together. But I kind of feel like sometimes that's me. I feel like sometimes couples need time out. Couples need that time to miss each other a bit, to reevaluate, to miss ourselves, to see the value in what we will have again. Because most cases as human beings, we value something more when we see we're about to lose it. I stand to be
That's
correct.
why,
I'm talking all of this from
yeah,
experience. I stand to
that's why
yes.
you say we need time out. That's
Sometimes,
why we go
sometimes.
to work. Yes, that's why, yes, that's why we go to work. That's why we have lives outside marriage.
Do we?
Because at
Some people
yes,
don't.
we should, that's what I'm saying. We should
Okay.
have lives outside marriage. We should
Okay.
have other engagements such that sometimes work can take you away. Those other engagements can take you away. You can use those periods to miss each other. But to now say, because again, these things take time. Now, for the person that is separating, the reason why you're separating in the first place is this other person is, you're talking about separation with a goal. You are the
Mm.
only one that has that goal. The other person is not engaging. They don't even understand what you're talking about. So they are either vexed, and I'm talking about practical real life situations now.
Mhm.
So the woman is angry, so you are leaving, or the man is angry, so you want to leave. Be going now. What's the meaning of all this rubbish? You want us to go and start airing all our dirty laundry in public? You now say you want counseling because I don't want to go for counseling. To hell with you and the counseling. You know. So the other party needs to prepare their mind. This thing can go both ways.
Both ways. Yes. Yes.
You need a lot
Yes.
of preparation of your mind. So you cannot say and that's another reason why you have to wait it out.
I agree with
You
that.
can At the beginning of the issues. Again, love is at the background of all these things. Covenant is at the background. You can't just break covenant like that. It's difficult to just yank yourself away from covenant. So that time you have to be telling you at the beginning of those issues, you still feel as if you can work on these things. Something it can change. You still believe, you know. So you have to give that time up until the point when you feel as if this thing is not working, it's not changing, there's no engagement. So that separation is a very delicate thing. So the other party need to prepare their mind that it can go south easily.
Okay. I agree
So
with
when you
you.
have your goals, the other person has got no goals at all.
Okay, I think I and Tita have finally disagreed to agree. We have come to we have come to a point of agreement, and that is that separation can go both ways. I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree that if you choose to use it as a reconciliatory tool, because that is how we are speaking in terms of using separation as a reconciliatory tool here. I am not talking about separations in terms of separating to divorce or separating not to ever come back. I'm talking about, that's why I say timeout. If you know what a timeout is in a game, in a football game, it's just that time when there's a break. Both of you take a break. And Titi has said what I think is the conclusion of the matter. You have to prepare your mind that this person who was not engaging with you, which is the reason why you're talking about a timeout, might just from here not also engage. It can go both ways, really. You prepare your mind that it can go both ways. It's either they miss you so much, they want you back in their life. You people come back and get better, your relationship gets stronger. You get, you get reconciled, you mend your fences, you now know what the problems are, the issues are resolved, your relationship comes out, bigger and better. Or the other person still totally refuses to engage and is even angry that you separated and say, okay, be going now. This person never makes the effort or never agrees with you to still fix it, and that might just eventually become the end of the relationship. But like Titi said, separation as a tool in itself is not the first point of call. It is always at the end of the process when you've done all you can. And there's a whole lot of all you can. If you don't know what to do, watch some of our videos. If you don't know what to do, call me. If you don't know what to do, speak to us. We are here for you. That's why we're here. We're here to teach. We're here to talk. We're here to, someone says, not a do or die affair. I
I
agree.
agree.
It's not a do or die affair, my sister. We don't die in it. And it's not going to take anybody to heaven. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful gift. If you have a loving relationship, if you're blessed with the gift of a loving relationship or a loving marriage, it's one of the most beautiful things on earth. I'm telling you, it's one of the gifts that God has given to us on earth if we do it right and we do it well. If both parties are willing to work and make sure that we have excesses, we tolerate our excesses, we forgive each other. The other day, Barack, and I can say it because they are public people, Barack and Michelle Obama were celebrating 32 years of marriage, and I went to their comment on Twitter and I was saying I celebrate 32 years of forgiveness. Because when you hear a couple say 30 years, 40, 50, it's because there are two people who forgive each other. Two people who decided to work and stay together. There's no perfect being anywhere, really. So you jump out of one, you go to the next one. It might not be the same issues, but he will still have his own. You go to the next one, she might not have the same issues as the first, but she will still have her own. There will still be one issue because there's nobody that is perfect. You are not perfect yourself. And the person you're going to be in a relationship with or marry is not also perfect. So it's just a case of two people who are willing to tolerate the excesses of each other. Two people who are willing to work together in love, to stay together against all odds, not to do or die. That's why we said if your life is at stake, sister, run, pack your shoes. What am I talking? Don't even pack shoes, safe. Run, take off. If you don't know where to go, let us know. We signpost you to where to go. So we're not saying they stay there and die. We're saying stay there, work on it. Make sure it's beautiful. Make sure you are enjoying it and not enduring it. And if need be, if necessary, separate for a while, miss each other, repair, come back again stronger. All right, our time is up, as you all know. My 1 hour is not always enough on this show. Yeah.
I agree.
I want to remove that comment, but I cannot remove it.
I agree.
It goes to tell you that the two people who stay in a marriage are not people who agree on the same thing. So my husband is not an advocate of separation, but I am. There are levels to it. So if used properly and well, I believe it can be helpful. It can be a helpful tool for reconciliation. You can still continue to leave your comments. I mean, even after we've gone off air, we're no longer live. The videos are there on our YouTube page. The videos are there on our Facebook page. Continue to leave your comments. There's a WhatsApp number on our Facebook page. You can also send us comments. You can send us questions. If you have personal issues you want us to talk about, you want to do premarital classes, we have premarital classes going on now. We also have counseling for couples. If you want to come and engage with our counseling sessions, please feel free to do so. Thank you, TT, again for your time and your insights always. Yoruba go say I'm a buying. Abia de talker. I'm a reading back. I don't know why when I want to speak vernacular on this platform, I'm always speaking Yoruba, and I'm not a Yoruba woman. Okay. Anyway, thank you everyone for your comments. Thank you to all of our new subscribers. Welcome everyone. You're welcome to the family. Remember to click the notification bell so that you get notification once we are live. There are a whole lot of new things coming up on this platform that I have been saying, and you will get all of the announcements very, 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 very soon. Keep engaging with us. If you feel that what we have here is good enough, please share with your friends, share with your siblings. You could be saving someone's relationship just by the thing that you are sharing, with them. Thank you so much again, Titi. Thank you, everyone. Bless you. Have a love-filled week. We are back next week with love and divorce. Yeah. That one will be hot. Do you think people should divorce? Is divorce a sin? Will divorced couples go to hell? Let's talk about them next week. You don't want to miss the show. See you next week. Have a love-filled week, everyone. Bye-bye.